Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty, commonly known as the ABM Treaty, stands as one of the most important arms control agreements of the Cold War, shaping global strategic stability for decades and leaving behind lessons that remain deeply relevant to today's complex security environment. So when we look back at its origins in 1972, it becomes clear that this treaty was not just about limiting missile defense systems, but about preserving a delicate balance between the United States and the Soviet Union, a balance based on the logic of mutually assured destruction, where neither side could realistically attempt a nuclear first strike without facing devastating retaliation. And this fear of guaranteed counterattack was, ironically, the very force that prevented nuclear war. Under the treaty, both superpowers agreed to restrict anti-ballistic missile systems to just 2 sites, each later reduced to 1, ensuring that full-scale national missile shields could not be developed to undermine deterrence. And while this might seem counterintuitive to modern audiences who associate defense systems with safety, the core idea was that if a nation believed it could block an opponent's missiles, it might be tempted to launch a preemptive attack. And so limiting defensive capabilities actually lowered the risk of conflict. For nearly 3 decades, the ABM Treaty served as a backbone of arms control, influencing negotiations on strategic weapons, shaping doctrines like strategic stability, and helping maintain a measure of predictability between nuclear rivals. But the world would dramatically change after the Cold War ended, especially with emerging threats like rogue states, ballistic missile proliferation, and concerns about terrorism, leading the United States in 2002 to formally withdraw from the treaty under President George W. Bush, arguing that new missile defense technologies were essential to protect against smaller, unpredictable adversaries. This withdrawal remains one of the most debated decisions in nuclear policy, with supporters insisting it opened the door to innovations like the ground-based mid-course defense system and regional missile shields, while critics argue that abandoning the treaty reignited strategic tensions with Russia and undermined decades of stability. Today, the modern relevance of the ABM Treaty lies not in its survival because the treaty no longer exists, but in the lessons it teaches about deterrence, technological competition, and the fragile balance of global power, especially as countries like China expand their nuclear forces. Russia develops hypersonic weapons, and the United States continues to invest in layered missile defense systems that promise new capabilities but also raise old concerns about arms races. Moreover, the emergence of hypersonic glide vehicles, which can maneuver treaty, is a powerful example of how diplomacy, restraint, and strategic logic once shaped the nuclear order, and why understanding this treaty